Hello, Jake. How are you doing? You dancing it up.
Yeah, I got this new desk and it's a stand-up desk, so I'm trying out stand-up energy for the
standing.
show, and
Nice.
we're gonna see if I like it or if I just end up kind of pacing and being uncomfortable and weird. So we'll find out.
I feel like
This is
that's
all
more
new to
likely,
me.
to be honest.
I've been a sit-down desk guy for a long time, so yeah. So how things?
Boy, Jake, do we have so much content going on?
Yeah.
I was trying right before. The reason we were 1 minute late to the stream, everybody, is that I was trying to fire up the hot drama alarm for the first time in literal years. I don't know when the last time I hit the button is, I don't have it piped into this app right now. And clearly, y'all know how good at this app I am after last week's incident. So just to follow up on that, I filled my hard drive. Internal storage is a solid state. Jesus Christ, get off my shit. I filled my internal storage last week, Jake. So now we know what happens is that the show keeps streaming, but we have no input from anybody about it. No comments come in.
Yeah.
Nothing. We got nothing. We can't turn the show off. I just have to quit the app. So we know how it goes if you fill your hard drive, but here we are.
At least the show kept going though. Like that would have been really sucky if it was just like bye and it just
we
like
did
stopped.
30 minutes of just mystery content or whatever. No, it was like 27 minutes in because I had a partial recording.
Oh yeah,
until 27 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, the recording, right?
I thought I had enough space too. I don't know what we were doing. We weren't really showing anything that visually intensive, but
no.
Yeah. So. Are we going to pause in 15 minutes to watch the iSpace Lunar Lander? I think I'll pull it up. We'll just do our best live streaming here. Might as well. We're live while there's a Lunar Lander happening. But nothing else to talk about, Jig.
There's nothing else going on in any corner of space news. It's been pretty quiet this week.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What are you drinking? Let's start with that.
Come on, dude. What do you think? It's the same thing the last 2 weeks because I've done nothing but move into this house. I think
okay.
I did put up a decoration for Jake. I put up my you can see I've positioned it on the boxes of the rack mount thing that is actually going to be this recording desk. So we're going to sleep here this weekend. So I think I'm going to build that and I might have a better situation. The bookshelves that will be behind me will come maybe next week or something. So sit tight. Jake's, I know, driving you nuts that I'm in this white void, but one more week you can do it. It's also at least 1,000 degrees in here.
At least now it proves that you're not just like on a green screen somewhere, just pretending like you.
But you can see the window too, right? There's a window there.
Yeah. Now I can. Yeah.
You can hear that plate glass window. I did get the electrical hookup for what will be the air conditioning in this room, but the air conditioning's not on yet, and it's 88 degrees outside, so I'm like gonna die. I brought a bottle of water too because it's so hot. So
you gotta count the sweat beads on your forehead.
Yeah. But it's a Cape May coastal evacuation.
You're gonna be sweating like the government contract official at SpaceX.
Sorry, Jared.
Sorry, Jared.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh dear. I got something wild today. You want to see this? Look at this.
Yeah, hell yeah. What is that thing? What the fuck is that?
So it's tequila.
Is that a Pokemon? Picosito?
Kind of sounds like it, doesn't it? Tamarindo.
What is this?
But so it's tequila pop. I guess it's like carbonated, but it's
soda,
got tamarind in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's I guess it's spicy. So picosito. I'm assuming that's spicy, right?
I assume so. I don't live there. I'm being asked to bump my levels up. So let me know if I start clipping. How is it? I'm going to give you one shot for this taste test.
Whoa. Ooh, all right. Okay. Yeah, this is a real drink.
Matches the standing energy that you're doing.
It matches some kind of energy. The spicy.
All right.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Do you want to start with... Last week, we thought Jared Isaacman was going to be the head of NASA this week, and now he's not going to be the head of NASA at all.
What else to lead with, I guess, is the don't bury the lead. That's what I always say in capital J journalism, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what we do here.
Yeah. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
This 180 fast, bro. Like, so you seen this like tweet from like whatever an hour ago?
This I don't think it was a tweet. In fairness,
or whatever. What is this called?
This is a truth, I believe.
A scoot or something.
I think it's a truth. You post your truth, Jake.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to read it? Can you do a dramatic reading of this for us?
In my best Trump voice, is that what you want me to do?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it. I need more. You gotta get my hands in it, right? Do this.
I don't think I have that shot.
No.
I might have this shot, but you can't see it. So.
I don't think I can do it. I don't know if I have a good Trump. I've never really tried it. Plus,
can you just read it for us anyway?
The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, by the way, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. Governmental subsidies and contracts, Anthony. I was surprised Biden didn't do it. That one's really funny to me.
He was always surprised. Continually. Every day he woke up. God damn, he's still paying Elon Musk money.
Can't believe it. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy, all caps. Okay, so this is like a fun, unhinged thing. Can we also, like, this, we already knew this was good, something was going on too when Elon came out with like a black eye at that press conference. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw talk of there being an actual physical altercation that preempted this. Yeah, was that true though, or was that just like other shenanigans?
I mean, what is true anymore? But it sounded like it was pretty accepted. Like, it's not a conspiracy theory. It may have been embellished, but it's not a conspiracy theory. That's my take on it.
Do you think it was a punch or someone threw something?
Well, I don't know.
Because like Klobuchar would throw staplers right at her staff. Mm-hmm. So strong chance something got thrown.
Could be a stapler.
I think there's a story of Hillary Clinton throwing something in the White House once. Frequent mentions on the pre-show of Hillary Clinton today as we discussed the era of Pokemon Go as well. So if you would like the top Pokemon content of the internet, offnominal.com/Discord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a good show.
Anyway, something probably got thrown, is my guess.
Could be, yeah. So anyway, this just, I can't believe how fast. Everybody knew this was going to happen. And it was like funny it was one of those things where it's like, it was funny to talk about in a way that was like, yeah, this is probably going to happen. And you're like kind of joking. You're like, well, I'm not really that joking that much. And then it was like, no, that's too, that's like too obvious. And then like, well, maybe. It's like that meme, right? What's that girl? The girl.
Yeah,
the
like, kombucha girl. Yeah.
No.
That's honestly how everyone felt, because there was a time period right in the middle, right, where Jared Isaacman was making it through Senate confirmation, all right. Troy Mink was making it. That stuff seemed to cool off a little bit. Everybody settled into what Doge was, and it kind of was not really making. I mean, there's always headlines about it, but it didn't feel as hyped up as those early days. And you thought, oh, maybe there's some time here that it could last. That's actually the crazy thing, though, is that Troy Mink, reportedly another one that Elon had a hand in picking as a Secretary of the Air Force, made it through confirmation, actually is the Secretary of the Air Force. And then this all happened like minutes before Jared Isaacman's vote, right? Like that was supposed to happen this week. It was reported he was going to get 70 votes in Senate, which is like not just a party line vote. No. And then it was reported before he went on the All In podcast that it was some, like, I forget who it was attributed to, as trying to get back at Elon. Somebody didn't like Elon, and then
some guy.
There was a particular individual that was named.
I can't keep track of the names, but someone inside. Right?
Yeah,
Steven or something. I don't know.
It's a good guess. There's a couple of them. I don't know. Steven's a fair guess for like a White House staffer. Steven from the White House.
Old Steve.
If you handed something to someone in DC and said, "Can you get this to Steven at the White House?" There's a good shot it would get to somebody that would know what to do with it.
Isn't there like 1,000 people that work at the White House?
That's what I mean. If you just took a shot and said, "Get this to Steven at the White House," it might make it to where you want it Like that's like a what are the pigeons? The carrier pigeons? Like that's a pretty
pigeons?
solid bet. Yeah. Who knows where it would end up?
Oh.
White House no, there's head of White House personnel office. Is that?
Yeah, Sergio sounds right. I'm seeing in the chat. Sergio.
Maybe it was the moon rock. Moon rock got thrown at Elon in the Oval Office. That's why it's not on that shelf anymore.
Some moon rock shaped black eye on his.
That's the most slapstick version of this.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, bleak though, man. Bleak.
It's super bleak. Like we were almost there. Like we had almost had NASA escape a little bit, and not anymore.
But even then, let's play it out, right? Let's say Jared did get in. Then what? Like, this didn't seem like a workable scenario. I mean, we said on the show a week or two ago, he tried to personally save the Hubble Space Telescope. I don't think he wants to cancel space telescopes. And that one's turned around in the budget, white paper, whatever, that came out a little bit. But what Nancy Grace Roman is only halved instead of canceled entirely. Which I find actually, I was talking about this with a couple of people this week, maybe more alarming when your budget just gets cut significant amounts than gets zeroed out. Because zeroed out, that never sticks. So it's more of an indication that the White House is fine with going back into the budget, then they're actually serious about the cut here. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, like this didn't seem like this was going to be. We weren't going to get Jared Isaacman unleashed or whatever everyone imagines for Tory Bruno unleashed at ULA. We weren't going to get that.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, maybe that was wishful thinking, right? But I don't know. I mean, all we can really do is like base it on what happened in the first administration, and that kind of did happen, right? Like they kept
until
it until
Reinstein was going to leave at the end.
Yeah,
he wasn't coming back either, right? So like the arc on all these, the good ones that get in at NASA when Trump is in the White House, the arcs don't end great.
No, they don't. This was a little sooner, though.
Real soon, yeah.
The fall of Jared Isaacman was sooner on the timeline than the rise of Bridenstine. So
yeah. Super shitty. Very shitty thing to do to a person. Also, let's just talk for a minute. Let's just disaster plan here, Jake. What a crazy timeline for Jared Isaacman, who effectively stepped down from his company, rearranged his life to be the head of NASA for a couple of years. Changes plans on the Polaris program. We'll see how permanent those changes are. Maybe they just go back in, but now all of a sudden he's just going to be the chairman at Shift 4. Isn't going to be involved as much in the CEO role. Probably my guess would be feels a little bit more convinced that his vision for space needs to exist. In my theory of the case from months ago, we've seen what this guy does when he wants to run a space program. Maybe he just runs the shit out of his own space program and feels like, well, NASA's getting completely derailed and they're screwed in many different angles and everything interesting in the future is getting canceled. Maybe this is when he's like, fuck it, I'll fund a Mars mission. I'll do like a Mars rover.
Maybe, man, maybe. Like, who knows what
I'll take a bill and make a rover. Let's do it.
That's one glass half full kind of way to look at it, right? Is you have two space obsessed billionaires that just got kicked out of the White House. So, yeah, maybe
that's probably the more realistic thing, that he'll end up at a position in SpaceX, right?
Back into it is.
Some would even say 4D chess.
Nailed it.
Like get confirmed as NASA, then have a huge falling out, throw a moon rock at somebody, and then I'll hire you at SpaceX, and you will have quit Shift 4 and joined me in a very clear alliance. There are some out there that will say 4D chess.
Didn't I say, like, I'm trying to, this is a long time ago, but I feel like at one point I said that Isaacman was the succession plan.
Yes, you did. You did make that call. You might have even put it in our predictions thing.
Yeah.
Might be in our crackpot theories document that has
might
one
be
item.
Crackpot theories, yeah. Because, like, if you're responsible, you do need to have that. Succession planning is a very key management job. And
man, that's
it's
interesting.
hard for a founder. It's really hard for a founder, right?
Let's play this out a little bit, because at the same time as this is happening, Starbase stuff not going like the best, as we've talked about. Guess who's running all the Starbase stuff? Pretty much the people that ran NASA for a while there. Maybe it's like up and out here. Maybe you're not the vibe.
Did we hear Kathy left? Isn't that a thing that happened?
Did she? I don't know.
Kathy
Was that a
I
confirmed?
saw like a not confirmed, at least not that I saw, but I saw at least a rumor. So
let's see. Let's run that to ground.
Run that to ground, yeah, before we just publish it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just asking questions. I'm just saying stuff here.
Let's check.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, at May 2025, she's changed her LinkedIn from Starbase general manager to retirement.
Good for her.
Nice.
Cash out.
Yeah. So
there's some leadership positions open at SpaceX, and man,
go run Starbase. Hop on the rocket when you feel comfortable. What do you find more likely? Isaacman private space program funding something crazy like a Mars rover or orbiter or Venus probe or like some planetary mission, or even honestly just a space telescope, like some dedicated science mission, versus ends up at SpaceX and runs human space flight or some department like that.
Oh, I see him at SpaceX way
100% of the time.
Yeah.
Flying Starship at air shows.
Pretty much, yeah. And here we're gonna do the flip maneuver.
Badass. We'll get to that. That's the China section of our show today. That's more of a China kind of style.
No, I can 100% see that, him just all of a sudden slipping into a maybe not even VP, maybe a president role, like sidling up right next to Gwyn in a sort of, I don't know. It's a big company now. They probably need more Gwyn level people, right?
Or just someone to do the talks instead of Elon.
please. We beg you.
This is the chancellor of SpaceX, then maybe that would be good.
Jared Isaacman, you're our only hope.
We'll get actual new content in a Starbase update. Talk about forcing people to do something, like buying those EVs that Trump's telling me I gotta go buy.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the people.
Yeah, when do you have to buy that by? I'm just wondering.
I think
what's the deadline?
The car's still there on the driveway, but
okay, right.
I feel a little bit bad for the people that go to these Starbase updates, like the SpaceXers, and then it's nothing they haven't heard before. It was nothing we hadn't heard before. Right? It was a couple things here and there.
I will say, as someone who worked in a big corporate environment for a very long time, sometimes you just need to say the same thing over and over again to the employees. They got to hear it so that they know that things are not different, right? Like, it's weird. It's a weird thing. You have to kind of like right the ship and keep everyone kind of calm and steady. Like, nothing's different, especially when the scary things are happening. Like, your CEO is doing wild shit at the White House. Like, you got to just like come back and be like, look, there's still a vision, Stability is good for the stock price, Anthony. Let me tell you.
Good defense. I will allow that, and I have rethought my take on the matter. Breaking news: It looks like Hakuto R has lost telemetry.
Wow.
So
that sucks.
Yeah. Damn, those are some monitors, though. Look at those things. That's what you got. One of those, I think, right?
I think those are bigger than mine.
That's like a 40-inch.
Yeah.
That's crazy looking.
I'm on a 38-inch, but I don't think those are 38. I think that's more.
Wow.
That's like 3 monitors.
That's huge.
In one.
All right. Well, we'll keep this up and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess sometimes it's easy to chalk up the changes here. There's the Isaacman change. Oh, they're cutting to a B-roll. That's never good.
Yeah, that's not good.
So we have, Isaacman kind of implying on All In, and the reporting around it was that this was a person getting back at Elon Musk by tanking his guy at NASA. But do you put any stock in the Isaacman clearly didn't agree with this budget section of the lottery? Like, is that at all something that led to this, or is this purely stupid interpersonal stuff?
I mean, I believe that Isaacman would have felt that. Like, I have no trouble if you tell me like, hey, for sure, Isaacman didn't like this budget, I'm like, yeah, obviously no one likes it. It's a horrible budget. Right? Like this is a budget designed to annoy the most amount of people per line item. Like it's like,
Yeah.
So I've, yeah.
Well,
no
to be
problem
fair, though, I think Isaacman would be fine if you said NASA only gets $18 billion, but you get to decide which $18 billion to spend. I don't think his problem,
sure.
like he said, stated on All In, right? He's also of the mindset of like cuts need to happen. It was just which ones that he's going to deliberate on.
Yeah.
But I think that's important to state because that's easy to say. Like, no, Isaacman wanted, obviously, if you get put in charge of something, you want 25 billion, not 18. But he's a guy that's also being able to focus on the thing that he thinks is important. And in this case, if he says, yeah, there's probably $7 billion we don't need to spend at NASA, he would find it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a corporate officer, like that.
Operator.
That's what he's good at. That's his skill set. Like that's literally say, can you do the same amount of stuff for less money in NASA? And he'd be like, yes, like literally like the one thing I'm good at is like, running a large organization efficiently. Like, so yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but I mean, that's not what the budget was though, right? The budget was like cancel everything, except the giant wasteful rocket that is like 25% of the entire budget. And we'll soft cancel that. We're going to cancel that program 2 presidents from now. And I'll call it
one cool mission and 2 presidents from now. That's what it is. 2 cool missions.
That's the one thing about like, I'm really glad that someone was bold enough to say this rocket needs to go and actually make the proposal, but like it is not dead yet. Do not count your chickens, everybody, like that. We've canceled this rocket 3 or 4 times now, so we have to keep that in mind, right? And putting it so Artemis 4 is what 2030, like at best 2032.
We're gonna make this face the whole time. Yeah,
that's a different era. Like no one like. I don't even know what will the world look like in 2032. Who knows, man? Like this rocket that. Doesn't matter.
Wow.
So
that was a very dramatic response to 2032. It is far away. That's almost 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Go back 10 years and then tell yourself how politics are today and see if you believe yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Gotta stop getting bad at some point, right?
So gotta think about that. But so yeah, do I think that contributed to him on the outs? I have no idea. I don't think that's a knowable thing really until.
I also think it would. Well, I mean, I guess you could say he was going to get 70 votes in Congress because he's going to agree with them more adding things back in, which is obviously going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just a fight.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like
he's really big about nuclear propulsion, though. That was odd to me.
He sure is. Yeah, he sure is.
Super into it.
I mean, it's kind of cool, right? And it's like sure as hell not going to happen in the private industry, so you may as well, I guess, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
SpaceX is not going to develop nuclear propulsion, right? Like it's just not.
Well, but they would if it was obviously the thing that was unlocking for their roadmap, right? They got a giant fucking rocket on chopsticks. Like they would develop crazy technology if they really needed to. Now,
right, but chopsticks are not regulated by the Department of Energy like nuclear power is, right? Like
yeah, they only run more satellites than anyone's ever operated and have entered into the military-industrial complex in a way that no one has ever really done in 10 years. And they've never been like, oh, crazy, I got to work around government. That isn't the thing that scares them off. So that's what I find interesting about Isaacman, though, is that he is so bought into the star-based vision, but also thinks nuclear propulsion is a killer deal. Mm-hmm. Like, why not say we should work on an actual like base that we would land on the moon, rather than just landers piped together?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like we should build the habitat. We should build the thing that we grow plants. Pick those things. I don't know.
The thing that we grow plants.
I'll write it down as a title. Jesus.
It's called a greenhouse, Anthony. The thing that we grow plants. That's like a Tim Robinson line. Jeez, holy.
It's very hot in this room. All right, so but here's Jake. I want to go back to this. The Secretary of the Air Force is a space guy, so that's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care at all about this, but I think it's kind of interesting.
Mill space does not really interest me that much. I'm sorry.
What about if all the money that space is going to operate on in the next like 5 years is mill space?
Then I'm not interested in it. I don't know what to say.
All right, that's fair enough.
It's I don't know. It's just not. I don't really like to get excited about that kind of stuff. It just doesn't do it for me.
You're so Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Super Canadian. Just draft off of ours. Yeah.
Yeah.
One day you'll make, the Royal Space Force.
Dude, sooner than later, after all your shenanigans, man, our new prime minister, he's counting dollars. He's like, how many tanks with maple leaves on the side can we make on our
the
own,
maple dome?
Yeah, maple dome. Just call it the ice rink, I guess. But yeah. So that's I don't know, I'm not. You have to tell me. I depend on you to tell me when the important stuff in mill space is happening that I should care about. But
well, it's just it's a pretty tumultuous time for military spending. Number one, they're getting a bunch more of it, not less of it, and it's the one area that is proposed to do that. Number two is Golden Dome is like a NASA amount of money going into the space sector, and that's spread across a couple different programs, but that's kind of interesting. And then the other factor that is that all the space companies some have pivoted very hard into being hypersonic testing or something, right? So I think there's a lot of being in the defense industry is in vogue again in a way that it was not in the early aughts.
I guess it's sort of like a rising tide kind of situation, right? Yeah.
Well, I also think there's a shift of my root theory is that the generation of people that are running these companies kind of came of age and in the business world at a time when American imperialism was the big bad in the world, and now there's just actual imperialism in an actual war sense happening, and that changes the way that you're perceived if you go work at Anduril. That was if you were hot off the Iraq War, that was kind of a weird thing to go into, right? But when you're watching videos of Ukrainian drones flying and destroying a third of the Russian Air Force or something in a single movement, and then there's a new emphasis to it in a way that there are capital W wars to point at.
That's fair. That's that's a pretty good vibe check on the world right now, right? Where it's for a long time, most of our lives, the general sentiment has been how can we keep things peaceful? And now there's very much a growing.
We were the ones that started the wars, Jake. We were doing the wars. Now we're responding to the wars. That's a different thing. Yeah, yeah.
But there's very much now of we need to kick some ass and remind people how things are supposed to stay, right? Because but they're not listening to us anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't do the war enough, I guess, for the intervening in time.
Didn't do enough war, so now there's war. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is that having a space guy as the head of the Air Force is an interesting moment because it flips the emphasis in a way that, the Space Force is under the Air Force. All the other Air Force people have been plane people, not space people. So flipping that relationship and having the head of the Air Force have all these space takes is really interesting. Also, I'm going to pull up this article that I was asking people about. Where did this go? There was this change that allows... Here we go. So you're going to love this. This is riveting content. So for a long time, if any of the commercial companies wanted upgrades to happen at launch ranges, they had to have the government find the budget for them, for those upgrades, do the upgrades, fund the upgrades, and eventually I think the government could get reimbursed if you used those upgrades. But the government had to be the one sorting all the money out and actually doing the upgrade itself.
They were in charge, yeah.
Now they have flipped this, so that SpaceX could fund upgrades to the launch range as they see fit. So if they want to change something about way Cape Canaveral works or Vandenberg works, they can actually fund that change rather than trying to get something through all these other means, which is more important right now than it's ever been because of what we're talking about with the budget environment. And so these kind of changes are also in this same vein.
This second headline here does not give me a lot of hope on this one, though.
You don't like Jacobs? You're not a big Jacobs fan?
Well, can you think of any other projects that Jacob's doing that are going really well?
I don't know. I kind of chalk that up as like a big no-name, not flashy contractor that's like, they're going to be involved in the really bad ones too. So I don't know. Is that problematic? Because I think that's just, I don't know. That felt like that was more facilitating of the, do they have to do the work? I don't know. I asked some people about how this works because I don't really get the flow. A contract worth up to $4 billion over 10 years to provide engineering and technical services at the nation's primary space ranges. I don't understand why they got a contract if the commercial companies are funding the work. So I guess this is like a retainer that they paid to Jacobs.
I don't know.
But that means like SpaceX could pay money and then boss them around. Be like, this is a shit mobile launch tower. Like this thing leaks everywhere and it's delayed.
I want to be a fly on the wall when the SpaceX managers try to get a bunch of Jacobs engineers to do something fast.
Yeah, that'll work out.
We could make a whole TV show about that, and every one of our listeners would watch every minute of it.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go well. I don't think Jacobs is going to be working at Starbase.
Vandenberg edition.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
I'll let you know what comes in.
Your point being, though, your point being that there's money going into space companies is not lost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, especially when Donald Trump pulls all the funding that SpaceX gets from NASA, and then continues to. NASA is totally screwed, man. They're super screwed right now.
It's dark, man.
If they're going to fight in this particular way.
It's yeah, and like we're seeing sort of the budget is one thing, and like so the budget details came out on, was it Friday that it came out, like the full technical document, and like it was really dark, like just like straight up everything is like they're canceling everything, like it is wild how much is just zeroed out on this thing. But then I think we're also kind of just seeing what you can do without touching the budget, and just like all these kind of scary stop orders, like travel's being restricted and the conferences are out, like they're canceling ISSRDC. LPSC has to go it alone now.
What do you got on that?
Not much yet, but I mean they just sent an email this morning saying that they're proceeding with or without NASA's help, and so that will be. I mean, I'm glad.
It's the Jared Isaacman Lunar and Planetary Science Conference.
Yeah, the Jared Isaacman. Oh dear. Okay. So, but I mean that's still like not. It's not just the funding for the conference. Like NASA probably pays a lot of people to go to that conference too, and now they're not gonna. And so is LPSC as good as it was if none of the NASA funded scientists are there to talk about their work? Probably not. So, a lot of those special sessions end up being like, there's always a special session that's like a 4-hour talk series from everyone from the Curiosity team, and then everyone from the Perseverance team. And then, every flagship gets like a block like that. That's all up in the air. Right. So I don't know. It's pretty dark. So there's that. Yeah. It's not looking good. We'll see what Congress fights for, and they'll fight for something like, this budget. I kind of think this budget is, I've said it is DOA, just because it's just like, it just has no, I don't know how to say it differently, but it's just like, it's a budget that literally like aggroes everybody, right? Like it's like designed to annoy every single person, and has like, no one likes this budget except the guy that wrote it. So I don't know how that proceeds, but still, I mean, if they only bring back 70% of what was cut, that's like still pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the model, right? That everyone perceives that it's operating model, under. Right? Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing about it, is that you're not building a reliable, future-leaning like coalition of people that want to think differently about this stuff. You're just punting the clock back a couple years, right? Mm-hmm. You're just upending a bunch of stuff, cutting the things back to a couple years, but you're not fundamentally changing the model or the way that stuff works internally, you know. And,
and that's the MO
so
of
it will
this
just
administration,
metastasize.
right?
To
It's
the
all
same
by
level
executive
of
order.
dysfunction.
And,
yeah, and then you're going to get the kickback to it of the reaction against it being, you know, we'll do the old stuff harder.
Yeah.
So I don't know what things are actually going to last in a way that is, you know, what sticks around to 2032, like you're saying, is so far away.
Yeah. Well, and that's the real danger too. Like, you know, even if Congress puts all this stuff back in, the disruption for this kind of thing, it takes a while to recover just from the disruption, right? And so, like, if all the money gets put back in and then we just like lose 2 or 3 years of progress, like what does that actually accomplish? Not really much, right? You don't save a ton of money. You just lower the effectiveness of the money you spend, and, you know, kind of like disrupt careers and hurt the talent pipeline. And like, it's just all really bad damage for no gain.
No perceivable gain. I think the only
wild
other way to go about it is like putting Dr. Z and Casey Hammer in charge of figuring out how to decide like which missions are doing a good job at operating and building their spacecraft, and keeping those ones around and saying to everyone else, like, be like these people and we'll be good, right? If you took, because not all the missions are going well. Some of them are crazily managed and out of hand budget wise, and they have not been adhering to cost caps. And we talked about this with Dr. C, that like, you have to be responsible. If you've set cost caps, you got to enforce them. You've got to like follow the things that you wrote down. So if we did the Dr. Z and Casey Handmer coalition to go in and figure out how to reorient internally of like how to figure out which mission is operating or in development well, and what are they doing right, and make everybody focus on those things, like how much of the budget is that we then reset on. But you're just resetting the budget and not instituting any new way of going about stuff. You're just kicking it 8 years down and
just turning off the tap.
Yeah. And if we were, and like we're going to, again, I am more of the mindset that at some point that's going to happen to the entire federal government spending at some point. So I'm more, I am more susceptible to like, we got to start figuring this out now, or else we're just going to smack into the iceberg and then have to figure it out. So like we will do that at some point, but it looks like we still have a couple minutes to like try to rethink how we operate some of this stuff, instead of going in this approach and being just super battly about, well, at least we got 30% reduction.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. Like I'm so, this is like my general vibe check on the world. It's like there just seems to be so much like allure to the idea of nothing is savable, and the only thing you can do is burn it down and start from scratch. Like this clean slate, like wet dream that people have about government is like, it's just so unrealistic and not helpful. Like no one seems to want to just go do the work, right?
Man,
like,
you turned 40 really hard.
I know, right? But like we live in a democracy, and things are messy, and you have to get together and work hard and build a consensus, and like, you know, you need leadership to drive these things forward, and no one seems to want to step forward and do that, right? And so you just kind of have this like stagnation until someone comes by with the idea of canceling everything, which is like the worst idea and also the best idea, like, because there's just no other way forward that people can think about, right? So it's, I don't know, that's really depressing for me. Maybe that is because I'm 40, but
it's because you're 40. But what if it's because the real reason is that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? What if that's the real reason?
I love this. Time to drop the really big bomb. Can someone keep track of how many people are surprised by this tweet? That would be a really good one. What? No, I didn't see this coming.
Man,
I've seen better fights.
Here we go.
Little kid.
Well, this is good. This was Eric Berger retweeting the Trump truths that we read out and saying this would both end the International Space Station and simultaneously provide no way to safely deorbit it. And this Elon plus wanting this just gets better and better. Go ahead, make my day. So he's in the camp of let's Tiangong ISS. I don't understand this one.
These guys are just like, oh my god. You guys are cooked, and you know that, right?
We'll be all right. Listen, America's superpower is our self-loathing complex. That is what we've done better than everybody, is that We know exactly what we do bad at, and we like to shout it out to everybody. We travel to Europe, and we apologize for being American because we know what everyone thinks when we come in the room. Like, we self-loathe better than everybody. We'll be all right. Yeah.
All right.
That's good. My campaign speech.
So. I hope so, man.
The other option is never talk about it. And then you're the Chinese government.
Yes.
So, I don't know. If I had to pick one, loud tweeting at each other or authoritarian government, I still picking loud tweeting at each other, as annoying and drama-filled as it is.
But Anthony, the fallacy there is that those are your only two options.
No, I didn't say it was. I'm just saying I'm currently picking this option, you know? So, not drifting
it's
across
the duopoly of American politics, Anthony edition.
Yeah.
We only got two choices on the ballot.
If you knew my politics, that's exactly as I've always thought, Jake, right? Yes, settled into New Jersey here, so I'm in the safe haven of the state with almost no natural disasters and very boring politics. So,
all right,
yeah. So it's going great. It's a great day for space policy.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen? What kind? I mean, you can't guess the person, but give me the avatar of who succeeds Isaacman in the nomination slot.
Oh, yeah. I should have made some calls before this, but I mean, there was that rumored name, right? That was more of a defense guy. Who was that? It was Quast or something, Kwast. How do you say that? Wasn't that who was rumored? Lieutenant General Stephen Quast. You think it's Quast or Kvast?
Which one? Was there someone already put forward for deputy or no?
Yeah, that
wasn't there some guy?
Space Force guy. The space.
He was kind of
Space
like
Force Association guy.
Pretty plain vanilla kind of guy, wasn't it?
Weird. It wasn't the name that I had heard originally that was going to be in the deputy spot. A similar kind of person, right? There was all the deputies that I heard were kind of like more of that ilk. But yeah, I don't know. Like there's, I think it's just no longer it's going to be nobody interesting. I don't think it's going to be some person who's game for this kind of budget to be floated, and the communication that has been the gross communication still about like the Starliner situation, all that just seems to be floating through NASA comms just fine. Someone who's game for that. But I think you're right in that, like, we've tacked back to the era of the fight in Congress is going to be the actual thing that dictates the next couple of years, right? Because I mean, shit, Jake, we're months away from being into the midterm battle here. So they got one budget in them maybe before the midterms.
Yeah.
They got one budget and a CR until the midterms.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how it's going to work out.
That's how it's going to look. Yeah.
Maybe one budget and then a CR. Maybe two CRs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to keep running that Biden budget.
We're running that Biden budget. Yeah, we might as well bring back Bill Nelson at this point. Just get him back in there, put him back in the game.
Jeez, what a wild! I can't. This is such crazy news, man.
The thing though is that the thing we were worried about above, like not above all the other things, but in the space realm, was that the kickback against SpaceX and the Elon Musk interests in this regard was going to be severe, whether that was after the falling out or after the next election, if Democrats win or whatever, right? It was immediate. Like if this was a personal retribution because this person didn't like Elon Musk and he left and he just canned the guy that he liked that was going for NASA, that's like an immediate kickback against SpaceX. And now you got Trump tweeting, we're going to take all the government subsidies and contracts.
Yeah.
GSCs.
All those Biden subsidies he's milking. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think either of us would have said the kickback will come in June 2025.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. It's happening
but it's very likely.
Happening as we are talking right now. It is like escalating.
Yeah.
Like live before. This is not a live stream of the lunar landing. This is a live stream of the fall of Elon Musk.
The bromance breakup. Well, I mean, it started a couple days ago, right? Elon was out there talking trash about the bill and went on that whole thing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
which is obviously what the fight's going to be about, is that like they're arguing about nonsense on Twitter, but the fight's really about like the proxy war is this, but the real fight is he's going to fund people in other midterms or like lobby for basically what he was doing before Trump was president, going around lobbying Republicans to vote certain ways, right? If that's still what he's going to do for a couple of days here before he like totally reverts to space Elon mode, it's going to be a swifter kickback against SpaceX. And it wasn't even like Starship Flight 9 went perfectly. There's still that.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be, what do you think? Like 3 months, it's going to be a pretty interesting sequence of events here.
I'm most interested in what Jared Isaacman does from here, honestly. I think that is the most meaningful thing that will happen for space in the next 6 months is whatever the hell Jared Isaacman decides he's going to do next. Because I don't think it's going to be start another fintech company or just be really involved or take time off and go to Tahiti or something. I don't think any of those are in the cards. I think it's going to be very space related. I think he's going to dump a bunch of resources into something really interesting, whether that is internally at SpaceX or his own thing. And the like, what is the space environment without NASA? Like that might just be his mission to figure out what that is and lead by example and say like, this is how we should develop space. And I have at least some of the resources to contribute to that. So I'm going to make a good step forward. If he does something in that vein, that is the most meaningful thing for space in 2025.
You're probably right. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty bang on observation. We should write that one down as a one to check back on in the Anthony world.
Yeah,
10 years from now. 2032.
2032. Yeah, that'd be great. I'll have air conditioning by then. So
in the world we cannot imagine, 2032.
Yeah. You're not living on Mars by then, Jake? You don't think the humans will be on Mars by then?
Man, I'll be almost 50 by then. Ooh.
You'll be great for Mars then.
Yeah.
Your bones will be getting less dense by the day. You won't
need that
eat as much.
That gravity bump, right?
Yeah. Yep. Your cancer risk will be appreciably less because you'll probably already have it.
I'm too tall, though. Too tall.
You are tall. You are super tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pretty solid astronaut for anyone who wants to send us up.
You would be a good astronaut.
Probably.
You're chill. Like you don't rile up easy.
Mm-hmm. I don't get seasick. I don't know how analogous seasick is to space sickness.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Good shape, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Haven't seen my torso in a while though. You don't know. You only know shoulders up.
You haven't seen mine either, so we're not going to go there.
Luckily, Jake, I have a new weight loss program, which is every couple weeks I get a GI bug from my son's school, and then I shed a few pounds. So, yeah.
I have the opposite problem. I'm living too much of the good life down here in Mexico.
You're drinking that spicy beer, whatever that stuff is.
Too many of these picositos.
You got that and a Steve Aoki Dos Equis, and you're good.
And the only thing that you around here is like refined corn, so it's like just bad carbs, right?
Man.
Yeah.
Is it worth watching that video of that Chinese hop test thing? You gonna watch it? Did you watch the video of this thing?
I haven't. No. Is this the one that they did like in the neighborhood or whatever?
It pretty much was in the neighborhood. Yeah.
In the typical Chinese
way. It wasn't as Tianglong 3 as Tianglong 3 was, but yeah. Where was the unofficial video? That's what we gotta find. The Andrew Jones unofficial video, because this was.
Where's the Richard Garriott kill zone?
This was close. Yeah. You start to see it when the buildings come in, right? You can see the perspective of how close to shore this was.
Power lines, yeah.
This thing had a single engine, and it flew like what? Not very high.
It's like a very SN10 kind of thing.
I think it was lower than that even. Right. Look at the port right there. Like there's shit right there. There were some good photos of them fishing this stage out of the water too. Let me find
And they're moving very methodically. Hey, it's something to watch.
I mean, maybe there's like 8,000 companies working on things that are like all roughly designed after Falcon 9 and or Starship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is, we'll get the guest we're gonna have today back on, but like, I don't know what things to care about. That's my number one problem is which of these things are legitimately rolled out of the state-run organizations, which of the things actually use tech they've developed themselves. Not that needs to be like, I don't want to be like not invented here syndrome, but there are a class of projects that's like, oh, this is using the same engine as the Long March whatever, so how different is it? Versus totally, homegrown, new thinking, to go with your clean sheet gripes from earlier. But I mean, this thing, it looks pretty sweet though. This one has the best look of any of the other ones.
I wonder if there's like a kind of a old style like Soviet maneuvering here where they have like a bunch of design bureaus that are competing and they're just going to wait to see which one comes out on top. They'll let the good stuff float to the top here, right? It's like that. It's that very Chinese controlled competitiveness, like
right. Yeah.
Like
you three fight it out.
A free market inside of my square walls here, right? Like
this one looks pretty legit though. A lot of NASCAR logos on the side.
Yeah.
It
does look pretty legit.
There's a lot of people contributing to that one.
Everybody
I like this one.
Their name on it.
Yeah, into that one. I think I did see that Tiangong 3 was going to fly again, which is fly legitimately, I think. I got to find that article too. Tiangong 3. Yeah. I'll find it. I don't know, man.
Tiangong 3.
Tiangong 3. Oh, here it is. Look at this. That's a rocket right there, baby. That's not going to fly off the static fire test stand.
No.
It's going to get launched.
At least not by accident, yeah.
That's going to get launched right there, Jake. Space Pioneers. I love the names of the Chinese companies, too. They're great.
Yeah, Chinese company names are all good. I always think, there's lots of big Chinese community in Vancouver, so there's like, there's lots of interaction with that community, and there was always like, I always joke that there was this gardener company that did our proper, like our townhouse community, our like whatever, and the gardening company's name was Nice Happy Gardeners.
How could you not want to hire them?
Yeah, it's like, what's the company like? How we hired Nice Happy Gardeners. And you're like, okay, good.
Got it.
And it's like
the
car company. The car company that's like really big around here now, that BYD, right? Stands for Build Your Dreams, right?
Build Your Dreams. Is that what that stands for? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So,
now, are you forced to buy their EVs? Is that a mandate?
We are, yeah. Yeah. They promised the Mexican government a whole bunch of money, and now I got to buy one. Yeah.
I can't really tell if you're joking.
Thankfully, they're about $48, so it's okay.
Man. Did we book someone for next week? You were doing a lot of emailing.
Yeah. Let's. I now I can't keep them all straight, so I'm going to pull up my email just to make sure that I say it right. But yeah, we have Matt Geertsen coming on, and we're going to talk about kind of an interesting topic, kind of a dovetail from what we talked about today. We're going to talk about leadership in space, and so I'm sure we have some stuff to carry from this conversation to that one. So he's got some expertise in that area. So we're talking about that. Should be good.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
We are entering into, we're doing housekeeping here for a couple minutes. A time where you're going away for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be fun to know who's going to do the show with me. But we'll figure it out.
I did the very poor trip planning where I made a 3-week trip that's 3 weeks and 1 day, and it starts and ends on a Thursday, so I missed 4 shows.
I think we might pre-record 1 or 2.
I could have done better than that. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and your July 4th is in there, so we'll skip that one. But there'll be some chaos coming up. It's summer chaos. It happens every year.
But the good news is, every week from here on out, I will have like one more thing in my background. So by the time you get back from your trip, I will have a full studio. Have the AC. I'll have the background. I'll have the desk built. It'll be great.
Love it.
Can I plug real quick, preemptively, that right now as I record this, unless something chaotic happens, tomorrow I've got Lori Garver coming on Miko, which will be a nice bookend to the Mark Albrecht on Miko. Shockingly prescient now that we know what happened when he was like, everybody knows the administrator of NASA works for the president. They got to know that. We should have known at the time. We probably should have read into that a little more than we did. But we didn't. None of us did. And then all of a sudden we were shocked.
I mean, like, just to be fair, though, it is not unreasonable to think that the handpicked guy from the guy that spent tens of millions of dollars, like that, there was nothing strange about that.
Yeah.
You know,
I would say the unoffensive handpicked guy too. Like nobody was mad about him being the head of NASA.
The money part should make some people uncomfortable, but it was very status quo how that played out. So I think I think we were being shocked is not the worst thing. I think is
the fact that it was also one of the most bipartisan picks but it was like it could have been probably the most bipartisan pick of the entire, I guess, except for all the people that used to be Democrats that are in the cabinet. It's maybe different, but this was going over the best, even though they were mad at him for like being Elon's friend or whatever, even though every time he was like, I'm not Elon's friend. I can't say this enough. On any show or appearance I do, I'm going to mention several times. I've only met him 3 times. Yeah, man, that sucks. That totally sucks. Especially sucks for us because we were about to get the best media accreditation policy that NASA's ever had for independent podcasters, and that has been completely derailed, and I'm furious about this.
Your kingmaker theory is out the window now.
Totally out. I'm just another guy with a podcast. Yeah.
Until they put forward someone else we've had on the show. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. But Lori Garver tomorrow on Miko. Well, recording tomorrow should come out tomorrow. That'll be fun. I don't know. It's going to be good to game plan with her of like, what the hell is going on now? What do you do? And then maybe we can have Jared on to debate what he should do with his private human spaceflight or science spaceflight program.
He does have some time, so yeah, we can probably send an email out.
Yeah. Does he have staff, though? I don't know. He may not have time or staff right now. Or he has time, no staff.
He might just answer the email himself.
That's true. It could just be him. We'll find out. All right, y'all.
Get one of those great
God
CEO
willing,
responses.
I'll be able to end this show today.
God
We'll find out.
There's still comments coming through, so that's good.
We are getting comments. I'm down to 104 gigabytes available rather than 0.
All right.
So that's good.
Good.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Bye. Offnominal.com/Discord. Everybody told me we forgot to plug it. Bye. See ya.